Ну что ты? Ну что ты? Сумасшедшие дураки. Пожалуйста, русские народы. Ну что ты? Sorry, I'm a Russian translator, so I was actually speaking in Russian first, since this is made in Russia. Mother Russia! I'm a Russian translator, and I used to live in Russia. And I'm not going to tell you what this lens is, because I don't want Russians to come and chop my head off. But it is $700. And I don't want to show you the box that's underneath there, because it's immediately going back. Leica M mount to I used the Leica M mount to a Fuji X mount and was testing it out for a few hours. And interesting 13 bladed aperture, very, very heavy brass. You know, for $700, you know, I know better. I know better. And I didn't make a mistake, actually. I knew going into this, but a bunch of people asked me to check it out, and I checked it out. And I have a message for those who made this lens in Russia. Krasnogorsk, Россия, to be specific. Ну что ты, сумасшедшие дураки! Ну что ты? Это говно. Слишком много здесь говно. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. When I use this lens, I'm going to do a, I've looked at lots and lots of lenses. I've reviewed more lenses than anybody else on YouTube, and certainly tested far more. And I'm going to do a emotional demonstration of what this lens was like when I used it. Ah! I wanted to claw my eyeballs out. I mean, you ever heard of a lens that like has flare issues? Well, there's like a new level of lens, and I've actually seen them like this before, that like seeks flare. It like creates its own flare where no flare exists. It's like you're filming the reflection off of something in the living room, like the specular reflection. And like even that specular reflection just like causes the lens to bloom out enormous flare, like so. Oh my God. I am so embarrassed, but it's actually worse than I expected. And for $700, I'd have to go again in Russian. Что ты, сумасшедшие русские народы, дураки! Ну что ты? My God, man. Um, Now, I guess I'm not gonna say what lens this is because I don't want my head chopped off. Be like, what lens is it? Whew, God. Yeah. Of course, you guessed it was the Zenith, and you could probably guess what lens this might be. By the way, this lens is made in Krasnogorsk, Russia, and that sounds kind of, interesting. But technically, that translated into English means pretty city. So, my advice to you is don't trust any lenses made in pretty city, because that is what that word means, translated from Russian to English. Krasnogorsk means pretty city. It's two words of pretty and city, or beautiful city. It means pretty city. Depending on how you translate it. Oh my God. Let me see. Oh my God, where do you start on how bad this lens is? Resolution is horrible. Micro contrast is horrible. The flare is, on a scale of 1 to 10, the flare is like a 20. It creates its own flare off of specular highlights in low light, which is unheard of. Yes, folks, Russians have not yet learned how to make good glass. Oh, and in the Leica M mount, the machining is so bad that you can actually sit there and try to focus the lens inside a very, very precision Japanese-made Leica M mount to Fuji X mount adapter. Very expensive precision adapter, and you can sit there and you can take the lens like, but it actually makes like a grinding noise, like metal against metal. You can actually sit there when you're trying to focus it, and you're actually... See, this is not good. This is not good. This is where I have to go upside down because this is really bad. When you can take a lens, when you can take a lens inside the mount adapter and you can actually rock it up and down and left and right, that's the same thing as decentering an element. And that that your standards of machining are not good. They are, as the Russians would say, говно. God. I said this lens made me wanted to claw my eyes out, and as soon as I get off the camera here, it will be taking a trek backwards in time from whence it began. And I would like to tell you what lens this is, but I don't want my eyeballs, ripped out of my skull, because Russians love revenge. But look, at having lived in Russia, nothing is really surprising. Sometimes things really surprise me. But Russian quality on consumer products is not very good. Is there one thing that Russians make really good, and that is paramilitary equipment, like RPG, Kalashnikov, tanks. Yeah. See, I can guarantee you this was actually machined on equipment from, 1980s Soviet-era Russia, machining equipment not so precise, good enough, but not so good, Oh, my God. Wow. On a scale of 1 to 10, I rate this lens a -4, and that is being dead serious. Thank you for watching. Bye. Damn, what a bad lens. Oh my God! Sucks! Sucks!